Welcome back to Mostly Thriving.
We're to the world that looks like we're thriving, but really we're just mostly thriving. We've had a lot happen in the last week. I can't believe that it's already here, time to record another episode. I feel like we were just in these seats.
This week has been so insane, but in the best way.
It's been a whirlwind. We've had Halloween. Mm-hmm. We've had another trunk or treat. We also had a fun little getaway that we traveled all the way across the United States of America.
In 24 hours.
Yeah.
There and back.
So that we could have you speak at a really cool event. And I was honored to be able to be there and support you. And I was super, super proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah. Last week, if you didn't know, I got to speak at the Forbes Walmart Creator Upfronts, which is just a really cool event. A lot of the conferences and things I've been to in the past are more home and DIY focused, but this one is just broad creators. Forbes puts out this list every year that's just like top creators across genres. So it's really cool to even be invited to an event like that, but then also to be asked to speak at something like that and share my story just feels crazy.
Yeah, and to have you recognized in the influencer social media creator realm as something outside of just DIY, which you do these trips and you have a lot of friends in the DIY space. So it's cool to meet some people who are not necessarily in that space and they still have this like reverence, respect for you and know who you are.
Yeah.
Because of what you've built. So I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
Great job.
This is something I haven't asked you, but I'm curious what your answer would be for this. So most people that see me online just know the Come Stay a While Amanda. And like to them, it's like I'm this person that they watch and they feel like they know us and all this stuff. But I'm really just a regular person. And I say that a lot. And it makes me think of when you think of like country artists or things like that, it's like they just have normal lives outside of what we know them as. You know me as that more than you do as Come Stay a While. What does it feel like when you see me in those places as Come Stay a While? Not that I'm a different person, but it's just I go from being a mom to like turning on like business, like in that mode. What does that look like for you?
You just seem like a polished businesswoman. People, like I think people would say the same about like country artists and or any artists or athletes, things like that. Some of them just show up and sing the song, do the thing. Some of them show up and throw the ball. But there's others that show up and are doing, they do that craft really well. But that's just a small portion of it. And I feel like that's how you are, is that, yes, you're super smart in social media, interactive media. That's what you've been trained in. But there's this other side of you that is just a genius in terms of how these turn into a business and how to better optimize that tool that you're really good at.
Yeah.
And make it into this booming success of a business.
One thing that I love about the idea of this podcast, and as we were dreaming about what Mostly Thriving would even be, is you're right. Like I do love what I do on Instagram and I love to be goofy and fun and all of that stuff. But the like business side of me doesn't really get shown as much online because why would it? It's
right.
Like the stuff that happens behind the scenes. And so I think that this kind of a format is really cool for creators who maybe are looking to make a jump into how to do this. Like I've done consulting things for people and just like things on the side where I can give them tips and like, these are things that you should be watching for and just all of that stuff. I just think it's cool.
It's like what we were talking about the other day when we were walking on the Lions game of just if you ever decided, I don't want to be on Instagram anymore, but you just wanted to consult with businesses, people would pay big bucks to pick your brain about how to engage audiences and how to better target their social media marketing.
Yeah.
Because I think that some people become influencers because they just happen to show something that's super viral and then they find out they're really good at that, their life is just kind of viral and what they do is viral. But then there's also people who, what I do could be viral, but you know how to optimize things and how to
there's for sure a
play
strategy.
play the system and play
Yeah.
the game.
There's for sure a strategy. There's a ton that goes into it behind the scenes, which I think making it look effortless is obviously the goal. And
Yeah.
like you want to stay true to yourself and all of that, but there's a lot that we could dive in here. So if any of that resonates with you guys as you're listening, if there's business topics or influencing in general of things that you guys want to know behind the scenes. Last week we loved all the comments that we were getting about our reno bathroom project from hell. But it's just cool to interact with you guys, see what you're liking, what you're not liking. So if there's ever anything that we touch on that you're like, oh my gosh, talk about more of that, like I want to know more of that, let us know down in the comments. We do read them and we do take your feedback.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of behind the scenes, one of the things that you get asked a lot, not a lot of people asking me about my experience behind the scenes, but your experience behind the scenes dancing as an NBA dancer for the Detroit Pistons, especially with the growing popularity of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
for sure.
Is there correlations there and things like that? So I think that today we kind of talked about this would be a fun thing to go back down. Really fun for us because it's kind of just memory lane. But let's dive into that.
Yeah, so we have a very unique story of how we met. Anytime people ask us, they're like, oh, did you meet in college? Whatever. We're like, we met while we were in college,
Sort of.
but not at college. So I danced in the NBA for the Detroit Pistons for 3 seasons. It was absolutely incredible season of my life. Like I would never trade those years for anything. Looking back on it now, 10 years later, I have such a different, not really different, but I have some thoughts. I have perspective. I think it shaped me in positive and negative ways. And I think that there's a lot that I can reflect back on, things in the moment that were probably not great.
Yeah.
But like at the time, it just was what it was. And so I thought that we could talk about that, but share a little bit about what you did. And then we'll kind of go into how we met. And then we can get into like the root. Today, we're planning on answering like all the questions that everybody wants to know.
Yeah.
Like we kind of made a list. What were some of the ones that we wrote down that we would answer?
We talk about pay for sure. Is that, how much do we get paid for this? Spoiler, not very much.
Yeah. How much do NBA dancers get paid? Is there communication between dancers and the players? Do they have control over your weight? What happens if, you don't fit in the uniform? Like all those things. How did that affect me emotionally, mentally? Like we kind of want to talk about just like NBA life in general, what that looks like, entertainment industry.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that it's for the people who have done it, which is a very small subset of the general population. It's just normal talk. But for the people who are just attending games or watching on TV or watching Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, that's the extent of what they get to know. And so there's some things that, good, bad, and all the in between that is never shown. And we're here to kind of show it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I did. TJ, on the other hand.
I was on the flight crew. Ever heard of us?
Ever heard of it?
Yeah. Well, Google it.
You guys were on America's Got Talent?
Yeah, we were on America's Got Talent.
We should pull that out of the archives.
Oh, boy. That was a good
It's
time.
kind of cringy to watch, honestly.
Maybe.
But you did really good.
I had fun.
You did good.
We had a lot of fun. We were on the dunk team. I was a gymnast.
Explain what that means, because when you say dunk team, people don't know what that is.
We ran. If you didn't know, based on my physique and being 5'7", I can't dunk
TJ
a
played in the
basketball.
NBA.
Yeah. I was
He
the
was
center,
there.
actually. I can't dunk a basketball at 5'7" and
No.
155 pounds.
No.
Just can't do it. So I need a little external help called a trampoline. And I was on this team of guys who actually only a couple of us were gymnasts. The rest of us were just athletes, good hand-eye coordination, who the gymnasts then kind of help learn how to jump off these trampolines. And so I started that in 2008. I was the youngest to ever join the team at 17 years old. Big deal.
Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. I was a gymnast for 12 years leading up to that. I was a junior in high school when I got injured as a gymnast. And at that point, just kind of decided that I was done with gymnastics. Not going to give you the whole spiel of, I could have done this perfect. I should have been an Olympian. Like, no, I should not have been. But I was decent. I was a decent gymnast, but I knew that I wasn't going to do it in college or anything like that. So I wanted to just be done. I played high school.
Like you competed.
I competed around the U.S.
Yeah.
And I also played baseball. I played hockey in high school. I wanted to enjoy my friends my senior year, things like that. Gymnastics is a very, very high commitment sport. Not saying that the others are not. And I think that the others have become more of a commitment sport as we've gotten older. But during that time, gymnastics was one of the only sports that was truly year round. It was 3.5 to 4.5 hour practices, 4 to 5 days a week. And the days that you weren't there, other than Sunday, your coaches were kind of pushing you to be there more. I'm not sure if their mindset was just to produce some sort of Olympic gymnast, which again, newsflash, most do not stand a chance, myself included. Mm-hmm. But that drive was really heavy. And so I really wanted to break from that. And I had done it forever.
What made you want to do gymnastics? Like, I feel like that's not a traditional male sport.
Yeah, I really liked trampolines. I really liked going over to my friend's house that had a trampoline. We were never allowed to have a trampoline as a kid, which we can get into that. I do think it's a sign you're signing up for probably some broken bones or a higher percentage of broken bones or chance at broken bones in your kids if you have a trampoline in your backyard. But
see, I want to get our kids a trampoline.
I don't.
I had a trampoline and I never broke bones on my trampoline. I was doing other things.
I don't know. Maybe it created an adrenaline junkie and you just
maybe
got stupid off a trampoline.
Did you guys get hurt on trampolines? I feel like it's a myth. I never hear of people actually getting hurt on
Although
the trampoline.
Now they have the in-ground trampolines.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different.
When we were kids, they used to have nets. Now they have nets.
Yeah, and when we were kids, they didn't have in-ground trampolines unless you were at like a gymnastics facility.
Can I tell you a story that I just thought of?
Always.
I almost died once on our trampoline.
Okay, so we went from I never broke a bone to I almost died. I didn't almost break a bone. I just almost died.
I had this memory flashback. We didn't. So you know how the trampoline it like goes in a circle, and there's like the springs.
For sure.
We didn't have a cover on the springs. So one time I was out on the trampoline.
Rewind. That's another way to sign yourself up from disaster.
Like 15
it's amazing that you didn't break a bone or almost die.
Okay, I did almost die. I went to step off the trampoline and I stepped on the metal edge and my foot like slipped through the spring, you know, where it went like under the trampoline. And when I went over the top, I hit my abdomen like on the bar. And I've never had this in my life, but I still have nightmares about it like maybe once a year.
Once a year?
I could inhale, but I could not exhale.
That's called getting the wind knocked out of you.
No, I know. But I kept filling my lungs. Like, try to do it with me. Ready?
Yeah, this is the wind knocked out of you.
Like, I kept doing that, and I literally remember thinking, like, this is where it ends. And then after, like, 2 minutes of basically going blue, couldn't yell or anything, then I just took a big exhale, and then I went inside and was like, wow, I almost died out there.
And if you didn't have a trampoline...
So I think we should get a trampoline for our kids.
Okay. You can deal with it when the kids...
You're minimizing, I almost died.
No, you got the wind knocked out of you.
No, that's different.
I'm not minimizing.
I've had the wind knocked out of me before. It's different.
Just keeping it 100.
It's different.
100%.
This time we would have an in-ground trampoline with a net and
no bar. If you have an in-ground, you can't.
You can cover the springs.
I know. I'm saying if you have an in-ground, you can't have the bar, and your feet can't sink so far below you and slam your abdomen into the bar to get the wind knocked out of you.
Anyways, continue.
So no kids will be lost in that experiment.
Anyways.
That's good.
Sorry. TJ likes trampolines.
So I liked trampolines as a kid. Now I don't like trampolines. I don't like going to trampoline parks. I think I don't like the trampoline parks now because I get there and I'm like, oh, I have to do a backflip. I have that drive and I have to remind myself that I am a 34-year-old man that doesn't need to do that anymore.
But fun fact, your goal in life is to be able to do one backflip a year until you die.
Running strong.
Yeah.
Still going
every year on his birthday.
Yeah, we had those Instagram lives and you people tried to get me to do a backflip on the hardwood floor and I used my wisdom to say no thank you. Anyways, we could show me doing a backflip later.
Anyways, okay, so you did gymnastics because you were into trampolines.
Yes, and that just kind of snowballed into this whole career of gymnastics of, you know, you're doing the recreational classes, you're doing good at that, so then the coaches start talking to you, oh, you should move up to this, you should move up to this, and the next thing you know, you're on a gymnastics team. Starting out pretty low level, obviously. I think I was in like the 4th grade when I started competing, and then it just got busier and busier and busier, and competitions got more bigger and bigger, more serious, and get further away. I think the furthest that I ever traveled was Miami, which is about as far, I guess you could go out west, but usually staying on the east side of the U.S. But
I do feel like gymnasts are the most well-rounded athletes in general. Like, I just feel like their body strength is like the most full circle.
yeah, they're just very well-rounded,
Balanced,
balanced, good hand-eye coordination. They check a lot of the boxes for you to be good at other sports.
So how do you feel about, like, both of our boys are in gymnastics, just kind of like for funsies. But like, what
Yeah,
would you say about a kid that was thinking about gymnastics? Like, is it worth it?
for sure. It's interesting because now we've had our kids kids. AJ has been old enough to do baseball and hockey and gymnastics and other sports as well, soccer. But at the end of the day, I think that gymnastics is most consistently the youngest sport that you could start your kids in. And they don't necessarily have to stick with that. But I think the benefits of being in gymnastics, say at age 2, one, it's physical activity. I think that that's really good to get them into, get them out of the house, get them socialized. They're in a class setting. And then they have to also listen to a coach. So it checks a lot of those social boxes. But then physically, they're working on balance. They're working on walking across weird things. Just things in that nature that will make them a better athlete down the road. And now AJ is a pretty good athlete. And I think that, yes, it's because he loves baseball, he loves hockey. But I do think that it goes back to that core of where he started and understanding his body and how to use it and how to stay balanced. Yeah.
I can see that.
And he's not, when you put a baseball bat in his hand and tell him to swing it, he's not like fumbling around with his feet. He's sure on his feet.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I also think as kids get older, it's a very disciplined sport.
I agree with that.
I have the time management and the discipline that I have today. Yes, because of some of the other sports I played, but it all started with gymnastics. And so if you don't know what your kid wants to do, or rather than signing them up for baseball at 2 or 3 years old, get them in gymnastics. Get them in. If you don't feel like they have the focus to zone in on that one hit this ball with this instrument thing, get them into gymnastics. Because also at gymnastics, when I was a gymnast, we would wrap one of those foam pit things with a bunch of tape. And at the end of each practice, for like a little cardio, we would kick it around like a soccer ball and play a game of soccer or play dodgeball and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you coach gymnastics.
Yeah, I coached. I forgot about, wow, I didn't even think we would talk about that. Yeah, I was a coach. That was
I think it's such a cool part of you that people don't know. Like when they look at you, they're not like, I bet he was a gymnast. Like it's just cool.
Maybe like my first leadership role. I never even thought of it that way, of like leading a team in that way.
You know what would actually be a really cool episode?
Hit me.
Because I coached competitive dance for, 5 or so years, about just talking about that and just like coaching. And when we led Bible study with high school kids. Like I feel like we've both had connection with that age group of like high school kids and how to mentor and lead them up to be great.
Yeah. And I don't want to pretend that, on that note, I don't want to pretend that I know it all, but I do think that those areas of our life prepared us with how to be parents and how to coach our kids. Our coaching throughout life really started when I was a gymnastics coach, and I started out, again, similar to my gymnastics career, of coaching recreational, just 5-6-year-old kids, and then ended up coaching some team level boys as well, which was really fun to see them grow. And now I'm getting to coach in a little bit of AJ's hockey stuff and his baseball team, and that's been very fun to do.
Yeah. Okay, so then where does flight crew come into the picture?
Flight crew comes in. So I got injured when I was a junior in high school, decided I'm done with gymnastics. There was a coach at the gym that I was competing for that also, similar story, stopped doing gymnastics and somehow came across the flight crew. I think maybe they came to the gym for a practice or something, and basically our coaches said, do not talk to any of our kids. We don't want them getting hurt because then they won't be able to compete for us. And so we were not allowed to do anything like that, is what it came down to. And once I was done, now they could talk to me and we could do that. Tryouts were happening in the summer. I went to tryouts. It was kind of just a natural thing for me. I'd been on trampolines at that point for 12 years. It was a little bit of a challenge in the ball handling because, again, shocker, I am not a basketball player. But the flipping was really the hard part for most people, and that was the easy part for me.
Right.
And yeah, made the team. That was really fun.
I think that too, people ask me that too with NBA dancing, or NFL cheerleading, any of that. How do you even join these teams? If you go to any of the pro websites, whether it's like pistons.com or whatever team in the city that you're in, and you go to like their entertainment section, all their entertainment teams will be listed. You know, most teams have a dance team and some sort of entertainment squad, and some of them have like a flight crew type of team, all that kind of stuff. On there is like, there's public auditions every year.
Yeah,
it's nothing that you have to be like invited to. You could literally, TJ could, well, he's not, I don't know, maybe you could, I think you can, some NFL teams now have male dancers. So I was going to say you can't because you're not a female, but you could show up to the audition if you wanted.
I could show up.
That's what I was saying. Anybody can go try out, but good luck.
As much as anybody with a car and two legs could walk in there. Yeah.
But anyways, let's stay on the flight crew path, and then we'll start talking NBA dancer stuff when our paths cross. So you're 17.
So I'm 17. I go to the tryouts.
What does that look like?
Relatively speaking, low-key tryouts. A lot of people show up, and within the first day, you can see the like 10 or 15 people that have a shot, and they just kind of wither it down. They call you at the end of the day, phone call, hey, come back tomorrow. I think it was 3 days long. Mm-hmm. I think the third day, though, all of the guys that were there basically were the ones making a team. I think when I tried out, it was like 100 guys and a couple girls scattered in there. To be honest, I think that the trampolines they're wound super tight. And so the power and the weight that you had to put behind it, it would be tough for women to do that just from that sheer power stance.
Well, it's interesting too. I don't think people realize this, but the trampolines are on an incline.
Yeah.
They're not flat. And so you can't just jump straight on them. You almost have to jump like through them.
Into them, yeah.
Yeah. So it is difficult. And we actually, at a couple of like the halftime practices and whatever, some of our team would just like for fun try to jump on them. Yeah. It's really difficult to get a good angle. And we actually had a girl break her ankle doing that.
Yeah. There was a female gymnast that tried out when I made it, and she was good. It was just so hard for her to get the amount of oomph off the trampoline. There's no doubt she had the skill to do it. It's just the equipment that we used was not fit for her. Because you have to keep in mind too, there were some guys on the team who were 225 pounds,
right,
230 pounds, big guys, 6'5". And so if we were to put the trampolines soft enough for her to have hit it, those guys wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's like a balance there. So
okay, so at that time, you guys weren't performing at every Pistons game.
No, well, first of all, my first performance was for the WNBA Detroit Pistons or Detroit Shock.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the Shock. I think they're in like Arizona now or something. But we started at 10 to 15 games per year, and that was it. And if you were busy that day or couldn't make it, it was just like you were out of game.
So was it super strict, or like, what does that look like? You just like can't be there. Like for me, it was not like you can't be there. Dancers, it was like you're on the team, you're at every game, you're at practice. Yeah. Like there is no flexibility.
We were nowhere near as strict as you, or what you had to go through. At the end of the day, I would say it got more strict as we went on, because as new ownership took over, Tom Gores bought the team, and entertainment became a new big focus. The team wasn't doing very good, so you had to have people come into the arena and have an experience, and the experience became a very heavy focus. And as that went on, it became more strict. But we would literally perform at the end of the first quarter, and I would be out of that building by halftime.
Yeah.
That was it. Or third quarter, I was out of there before the fourth quarter was done. And so we had no other responsibilities. And obviously that changed over time as entertainment became more of a focus.
It's interesting to me because tryouts for us always happen in the spring, so around May-ish. And the season doesn't start, until October. I think like
Yeah,
one of the home
end of
openers
October.
was like end of
Yeah.
October. And so there's a lot of, training camp and prep and all of that stuff that's happening. And then you get to the game. It's just interesting. And so when I had tried out in May, made the team, was going through training camp, all of that stuff. I want to say end of August or something like that is when the Pistons sold to Tom Gores.
Yeah.
So everything when I first auditioned, it was for Automotion, which is what they were called at the time. And then the new ownership came in. They basically cleaned house. Like they wanted to bring in all of their own people, and everybody came from LA. Like we had all these new, higher ups and people in the offices and all that stuff. So everything kind of got flipped upside down. Our coaching changed. And so then I didn't really ever see what it was like prior to that.
Yeah.
So what was the difference between before and then after? Because I know at that time too, it's just funny how like God is woven in to all of our story. And we talked about this a lot in the first episode with TJ's vet school story and just how he almost wasn't a vet and all of that. But if that change wouldn't have happened and that turnover wouldn't have happened, we would have never had the opportunity to have a relationship.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
When I had joined the team, first of all, I was 17 years old. These women that were dancing I was not worthy of being in the same room as them.
Well, you had to be 21 at the time.
For dance?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it got changed to 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, and you were supposed to be 18 to join the flight crew, but your boy was 17. Gotta go get him,
Yeah.
But anyways, so even if it was an option to talk to you all at that point of my journey on the flight crew, there was no way I was walking into the building and talking to these 21-year-old women. I was a junior in high school. I was just like, head down, keep walking, get to your locker room, do your thing. And so that changed drastically when this new ownership came in. They wanted this sort of cohesiveness of...
But they had like pretty hard rules that like the dancers are off limits. No one talks to them.
Yeah, no, it was, we would share a court with them, and the message was, don't even look. That was like, we literally had powwows of just like, don't talk to them, don't look at them. They had like a masseuse that would come in, and they'd all get massages during practice, and we would just be like...
The girls?
Yeah.
Oh.
We'd be like in our bags.
We
just
didn't
like
have that.
hoping maybe somebody would bring us like a bottle of water, or maybe.
We had a chiropractor.
We had a chiropractor. Yeah,
I don't
we
think
did
they
that.
were getting massages
Oh.
courtside.
Oh, no. They were.
Really?
100%.
I don't.
100%.
We didn't have that.
They would go into the tunnel area.
I can't
and they
speak
would,
to that.
I can speak to that.
You're making it sound weird.
No, it wasn't weird. It wasn't like they went off to this back room or
That's
anything
what you're
like that.
making it seem
No,
like.
it was there was the tunnel.
This
that
is
the
why
players
we
would
have
come out of.
NBA dancer stereotypes.
No. They it was like off to the side of the court, and they would go over. Maybe it was a chiropractor. I don't know. Here's one thing I know.
I bet it was a sports medicine.
We didn't have it.
You guys weren't as cool as us.
We didn't have it. And
we were
bodies,
at every game and you weren't.
We were bouncing our faces off the rim.
Well, you chose that
Our bodies
life.
were taking a beating. Not that you dancers don't dance as a sport. I'm not about to go down that route. You guys
Don't get me started.
I'm not, I just said I'm
Don't
not
get me
going
started,
down
boy.
that route. I said it ends here. I'm not going down that route. You guys are hard workers. I will give you that. Cool? Is that acceptable?
Lose the tone a little bit.
I love you. Anyways, I don't even know where we were at with that. But yes, we did not have any sort of interaction with the dancers. That was a very hard no rule. The dancers were on this kind of pedestal of, there was the players, the dancers, everybody else.
And then the
flight
bottom
crew.
of the barrel.
And then the flight crew. But it was great because we were just like treated as that kid that just couldn't do anything else. We jump off trampolines. That's all we do.
Throw the t-shirts.
Kind of thing. No, we didn't even do that.
Oh.
No, arguably the most athletic group of them all, like as far as throwing things, we could not be trusted to throw those babies.
Okay.
No. No.
So anyways, new ownership comes in. They clean house. And now there is a completely different culture within the arena. Like,
and then
their whole thing, because the Pistons weren't doing so great at the time, their whole mission was they wanted fans to be able to come to the game, never once watch basketball, and still want to come back. So we had so much entertainment going on. They had a cheer, like, stunt team. We had the dancers. They had a jitting crew who was kind of like break dancers. They had Mob Squad, which was the kid dance crew. And then they also had the flight crew who would like jump off the trampolines. And all of those performed. Well, no, flight crew and dancers were at every game. And the other ones were mixed in. I don't think Mob Squad was at every game.
then there was the cheer team. I think they were at every game.
Yeah. Either way, it became entertainment was a huge focus. They brought in huge names for halftime shows. You know, we danced with
Flo Rida,
MC Hammer, Wyclef. We had like, I'm trying to even think of some of the other ones. We had so many. Gladys Knight, T-Pain.
They had Nelly at one point.
No, not Nelly.
I think after we left.
Oh,
they did Nelly.
T-Pain. Like just it was
T-Pain.
so cool. We got to meet so many artists. Fat Joe.
Yeah. Fat Joe, one time when I was walking in front of him, I had this old high school baseball t-shirt on. That it was like, real cool cut off shirt. And it said T-bone steak, and he was walking by.
No, it just said T-bone.
T-bone. He said T-bone steak.
T-bone steak.
And I was like, "Hey, Mr. Joe.
Hey, Mr. Fat Joe.
Can I call you Fat Joe? I don't want to offend you, but
that was a really cool.
Fat Joe's lost weight. He's not fat.
Oh, just Joe now.
Yeah. Well, but he's still Fat Joe.
Slim Joe.
Gotta still maintain.
Anyways, it was
Slim Jim.
Slim Jim.
That's good.
That was good. Anyways, there was so many. What was that one guy's name? Travie
McCoy.
Did we do Mike Posner?
No, he was at a lot of the games.
Oh.
But he
Big
didn't
Sean?
ever perform. No.
I thought we did Big Sean.
No, he was
there
at the
too?
games.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sean John?
No. Anyways, we did a lot of halftime shows. And so our new coach that we had was just a totally different person. Totally different vibe, totally different rules. She came from LA. I think she had been in Arizona for a while with the Phoenix Suns. And her message was basically, let's bring everyone together. Everybody meet. We're all going to spend a lot of time together. We're all friends.
This woman changed my life.
Dancers meet flight crew meet dancers.
Her first day on the job, and this is the year that Amanda tried out, and we should get into that in a second. Her first day on the job, or that I saw her, was after the tryouts were done. We're all coming together. I think we were about to start planning the first halftime show together. This lady, I didn't know who she was, walked over to us, the flight crew guys, us sitting there with our like heads in our laps, not daring looking up at these new women that were the dancers. And she comes over and introduced herself, and she says, "Have you met the girls yet?" And I don't even think any of us had the idea that she was referencing the dancers, because that was so far out of the options for us. And we probably looked at her like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" And she said, "Have you met the new dancers this year?" And we all were like, "No, lady, you're insane." And she said, "Well, would you like to go meet them? I'm the new coach. We want you guys to know them and get to know each other."
Well, and you're no longer 17.
I'm no longer 17.
Now you're 21.
Now I'm 21. Now I'm of status. I can strut over there, I walk over there, and that lady, I was just like, "Yes, please. We would like to meet these women." And that is the day that I met my future wife.
That is the day. I would say we didn't really know each other super well that first year.
Not at all.
We both were in relationships, and it was just kind of like, hey, we were all friends. Like, we were all in college. We all have no money. We're all struggling. We're all just like living life in this same period. So we would see you guys and hang out when we would do dinners and stuff before the games, like just in like.
It was just, it was like a buffet.
It was colleagues, yeah.
It was just, you're getting off the court, I'm getting off the court. A bunch of us are sitting down at the college cafeteria, basically, to eat. And slowly, that became like, instead of a middle school dance style, it was a little more intermingled.
Well, we just got to know each other, and we were like, these guys are actually really nice. And like, we all just became friends because we were in similar phases of life. And so then probably like a year and a half after that, I was in my second season, I think.
Yeah.
You had just gotten out of your relationship. I was kind of, ending my relationship as well. And then we both were single. And at that point, we had all known each other for like a year. I think a couple other people had started dating. We all just started hanging out a lot more. We would go out after the games together.
We were at every single game then at that point. So it was just...
I mean, we were spending 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah, because every game means 41 home games between October and April.
Yeah.
And so that, and then the halftime performances, we would have practices outside of our regular practices. There were times where we would be practicing at the same time. We would share the court with you guys. And so it was several days a week. But let's get into your experience.
Yeah.
As I don't think people care as much about the flight crew, but I think it was critical for this story.
Yeah, it's a huge piece of it.
But tell us a little bit about your dance life. Like, when did dance start for you? Did you just wake up and you were just like, I think I'm going to be an NBA dancer? Or when did that start for you? I started way back for gymnastics.
So I danced as a kid. I remember like studio dance and all of that. I would do that. And then as my love for it grew, I ended up doing like my high school's dance team. And I think it was maybe my freshman year of high school, I was like, I want to be a Detroit Pistons dancer. Like, that is what I want to do. And it's hard with dance because I feel like every other sport has, and there is collegiate level dance, but after that, there is no NBA.
Yeah, you're done after that.
Like, that's just, you peak and you're done. And so for me, it was like, okay, well, it's either two things for dance. You can dance for your college, and then you're basically done. Or you can go into pro, which would be NFL or NBA. Or you can move to LA, and it's like those are like completely different worlds. You're like trying to make it on tour. You're trying to get Broadway shows, all that kind of stuff. I never had interest in anything like that, of doing commercial dance.
Also, the Art Institute, it may shock you, doesn't have a very big thriving dance team.
They don't. So it's hard because I wanted to go into tech. My degree is in web design and interactive media. And so there wasn't anything like that, like if I wanted to get a degree in that, not just, go to Michigan State and get a marketing degree with a minor in graphic design. Like, that wasn't specific enough for what I wanted to do. So I had to go to an art school. So I went to the Art Institute.
Now all those schools do have that.
Yeah, they
but
didn't.
You were ahead of your time. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I chose to do that, and I stayed local. It's in Chicago, but they had like a satellite campus here. So I
R.I.P.
I went here. It has since closed.
Amanda shut that place down. She said there's no dance team. Close it.
Close it down. But yeah, so for me, it was just kind of like, that's what I had set my sights on, and that's what I was going for. Sucks because I was young for my grade. And so when I graduated high school, I was only 17. And at that year, they had changed from 21. You had to be 19. So I had a year of buffer between high school and when I could do that. And so I just did a lot of training. I reached out to the dance team. I started doing private lessons with one of the current dancers to just kind of like learn their style and get tips from her and whatever. So I trained really hard for that year. And then I went to the tryouts, which probably maybe 300 or 400 girls try out. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look, but that feels like what it was. And it's similar. It's a few days, and it's, there's a round, which is basically just like freestyle dance, which you can tell pretty quickly. There's a lot of people there.
Wait, back up. Day one, they walk in and they go, break it down. Like, you're just by yourself, just...
Yeah. They play a song and they say, like...
Shaking your groove
show me what
around.
you got. I mean, you can tell really quickly if somebody has got rhythm or no. They're not asking you to, like, get out there and be like...
Let me ask you this. Do I have rhythm?
Yeah, you have rhythm.
So I would have made it past the freestyle
I don't
round.
think so.
But it's
like, do they have a presence about them? Are they holding themselves with confidence? Like, are they looking up? Are they projecting into the stands? Like, you can tell... immediately within the first 8 count if somebody's got it or not. Those rounds go really quick.
Is it cutthroat? Like, do you walk in and they're like, sister, you're off beat, get out?
No, I mean, the first round is probably an hour long. You're lining up.
1 hour?
Yes. I mean, you get one shot out there.
The girls got 1 hour?
There's you go to the tryout. There's like a huge warm up. You're following along. They're definitely judging you during the warm up. Who has their splits? Who has flexibility? Like, they're judging all of that kind of stuff.
Splits?
Yeah. I did.
You don't have that.
I don't anymore. No.
Wow.
But yeah, they're looking at all of that. How are they holding themselves from the second that you walk in that door, even at the registration table? They're judging. How are they holding themselves? Are you coming in sloppy? Do you have 17 bags? Like, do you look put together? Like, so much of NBA dance and NFL cheerleading is off court. Like, how do you hold yourself on the concourse? How do you represent the organization well outside of just your 2-minute dance performance? And so we're going through all that. They do their first round where they basically leave. They come back. There's like a chart of numbers. If you've ever seen the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders show, that's what it's like.
So you go in, you get pinned with your number, and that's basically your identity as that number.
Right.
Until
the end. Until you make the team, yeah.
What number were you? Do you remember?
I mean, I don't remember.
262, probably.
No, it was like 4 something, I think. I mean, I had a different number every year.
Oh. It's right, yeah. Oh, you had to retry out?
Oh, yeah. You have to retry out every year, and there's years that I had a couple teammates that didn't make it back.
See, I think we retried out for flight crew every year just to like try and keep us humble, but Lord knows they were not, like, we were safe. There just wasn't enough people that could do this. I was going to say, there are so many talented dancers. Yeah.
And I think I want to get into just the culture of NBA dance and what that was like. But the problem was they like instilled the fear of God in you that like, you can either do this or
you're very
the next
replaceable.
Girl is in line. Like, there's a qualified person who can take your spot. So like, make your pick. And that is really difficult because it's like, I want to do this so bad. But then there's parts of it that you just like don't agree with or that don't feel right, but you're like, I'm not going to give up everything I've worked for. I'll just do this one thing.
Okay, so let's get back to tryouts. You go in, you shake your groove thing for 1 hour, and they go, you shake your groove thing on the beat. Now what?
There's just rounds. Next, we're going to learn choreography, and then you perform the choreography. A lot of times you might learn 2 or 3 dances short, and then you dance all of those, the different styles, and then there's another round, and then the next day. And every day it gets a little bit more intense.
Yeah. And you go from 300 or 400 down to how many in that first 1 hour?
I don't know. No? I mean, they wean it down pretty quick, and then there's maybe 100, then 50. We only had, I think, 18 or 20 on our team, so.
At what point do you feel that your physical appearance was judged? Not what you're wearing.
Yeah. From the first minute.
We're talking curves, we're talking hair, we're talking like all that. Like, so instantly you're judged on.
It's and I will say everything that I say is speaking from, 10 to 13 years ago. Okay. Right. I do think that it has come extremely far.
Yeah.
I think that the standards now are different than they were then, as they should be.
Yep.
I think that they were extremely hard on us. I think that there was so much focus on dance. Yes, you had to be a good dancer. But like, everybody's a good dancer. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that talent. So then they're like, okay, well, what's going to now be the step above? Like, who's going to be pretty to look at? Who is in the best shape? Like, all of those things played a factor. Sure. And what was hard for me, so I'm only 5'1". I think people, whenever I meet people in person, they're like, oh my gosh, I thought you were taller. Like, I'm really short. And when our management...
Thank goodness, because your boy's only 5'7".
When the management switched over, all of the new people came from LA, and the Laker girls at the time had a height requirement. I think it was like 5'7" or something like that for the girls. So they wanted them to all be kind of standard height. And so they had a really hard time with me visually because I'm short.
I didn't.
Yeah. So that was difficult because I'm like, I can't change that. And it's hard because I made the team under previous management. And then when the new management came in, they were kind of like, here's your team.
Yeah.
I don't know that they would have picked me for their team just based on physical appearance alone.
I'll always pick you.
Thank you. But yeah, it was very intense.
Yeah. Very
much under the microscope all the time. But I understand, like, they have to put a product on the court. I do understand that. Like, those two things can exist and be true. That, like, they have a job to do. They have something that people expect. Dancers at the time, should be beautiful, thin, great at what they do, community leaders.
The visual aspect will always play a role in it. Whether we like it or not, it is a fact.
Yeah,
and
it is.
They have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way that went. So you make the team, and now you are dancing in the NBA.
Yeah.
Throughout the season, did that kind of mentality keep going of if you don't do X, Y, or Z, eat this or that, look this way, weigh this? What did that fluctuate throughout the season, or you make the team, you're good until you have to retry out again? What was that like?
So they basically gave us everything that we needed to be successful to them. If it, we had gym memberships at Lifetime Fitness, we had tanning memberships, we had our hair, and our hair was done for free, like all of that kind of stuff. We had a partnership with a salon. So they gave you everything that you needed to stay looking exactly like you did that day in auditions. And one thing that people don't realize too is that after auditions, we all go through makeovers, like right after. Everybody gets their hair done. They might decide, we need a couple more brunettes, like we can't have everybody be blonde. So they're noting all of that when they're picking the teams of, she might need this, or they might look at someone and be like, everything about her is great, but her hair color is like not quite what we think would be best suited for her. And so we have all these appointments at these salons. You go in, sometimes they don't even tell you what they're going to do. It's like in our contract that you just do what they say.
So you're just sitting in the haircut chair, or whatever. I don't know what do the women call those chairs? The chair.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the chair, and you're just watching them just dump dye or cut 3, 5, 6 inches off your hair. Are you watching the whole time? Like,
yeah, I
thinking,
mean,
oh my gosh, what's happening to me?
I remember getting to the salon and on my first year, I remember getting to the salon and they showed me an inspiration picture and said, like, this is what they picked for you. And I mean, you're new to the team. This is like insane. This is the coolest opportunity ever. So you're just like, okay. And for me, it wasn't changing much that year. It was just blonde.
Year one.
Year one, yeah. So then year 2, I think I stayed blonde. And then year 3, the only reason why I had a heads up on this, so I went red for my 3rd year. It was like a darker, I don't know, and I had never been anything other than blonde. But because I was a 3rd-year vet and had been on the team, they did talk to me about it before. And they were like, hey, we need a couple blondes to try a new hair color. Like, would you be open to that? And I was like, well, I guess, like, when else would I try this? And so I said yes. But
Nobody asked me.
I didn't have any say in, like, the color of the red, like any of that. And when I first got it, it was like a little bit too harsh. And we ended up being able to put like a little bit more blonde highlight back in it. And I actually ended up really liking it.
Yeah.
And it was great.
I did too.
But some of the girls don't get that luxury of that.
Isn't there stories of like you sit down in the chair, they face you away from the mirror, they don't show you anything, and then turn around, ta-da!
Yeah, I mean, every
for
team,
the next 6 months.
Every team is different, and it's not like they're doing it to be harmful. Like they bring in professional stylists and they look at your skin tone and your color palette and your eye color and all of that. Like they want you to look your best, and so it's not like they're doing it like, oh, we're gonna dye her hair jet black and she's always been super blonde. Like they're only doing it to improve the appearance.
But I just think about a woman's confidence, whether you like it or not, is in their appearance. And when they're feeling the most themselves is when they're the most confident. Mm-hmm. And then if you throw that at them, they have no say. Like, I think that is a blow, could be a blow to their confidence. And I just, to me, that's a little harsh. I think about, we have 2 boys, but if I had a daughter, or I look at my sister, and if they were put in that scenario, I don't know how I feel about that. How do you justify that? How do you feel about that? Putting yourself, 33-year-old you looking back, if that were your 18, 19, 20-year-old daughter going through that, how does that make you feel? Do you think that's something that you would, obviously you support your kids in everything that they do and always will? Yeah.
I kind of feel 2 ways about it. First, just like as a mom, you should love the skin you're in and like God made you how you are and all of that. I fully believe all that. On the other hand, I do feel like you know what you sign up for. And if hair color is what makes or breaks that dream for you, and that's something that you've worked really hard and wanted for a long time, like hair color can easily be changed,
Okay.
And not that I think it's okay for them to tell you how you should look, but I also in that moment of me, how badly I wanted to make that team and how hard I trained to do that. If they said, we can either dye your hair darker or we're going to pick someone that has darker hair, you pick, I would pick my hair 100%.
Pick dyeing your hair.
Pick dyeing my hair, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you
I get
look
it.
at
It's a business. They can't have all blondes out there.
I think that Hollywood / TV shows portray it as if you didn't know that going into it.
Yeah.
It's just, here comes salon day.
Yeah.
Look at Sarah. We dyed her hair from blonde to brunette.
Right.
Chances are Sarah knew that was a chance
right
before. As long as that's the case.
I know too, some teams have like a written test because they want you to be educated. Like they don't want you to just, I mean, there's such a stereotype of NBA dancers. Like they're bimbos, like they just sleep around, like they're promiscuous, like just all these things about NBA and NFL cheerleaders that are so not true.
Yeah.
Like obviously there's somebody that's going to fit every stereotype regardless of the topic.
But a majority do not.
Majority do not. Like we were all in college. We had nurses on our teams. Like we were educated women. And it was just like,
no stereotypes about the flight crew though.
Yeah. Those guys, you know.
Just, strapping young gentlemen, successful guys.
Yeah, so I don't know, but going back to your original question about the weight and throughout the season. So we were weighed at the beginning of the season. They did know what our starting weight was. And then we did have weight check-ins. And we would just know. They would check our body fat percentages. They would check
would just say, here's what I weighed today. You would walk in and be like, this is my weight today.
No,
or
they
you would
weigh
step
you.
on the old scale.
Yeah. You would step on the scale before practice.
Oh, man.
Which, looking back now, that's effed up.
That's bad.
That there's really effed up. We had something called...
Who was checking your weight?
Kind of all of the management. I mean, we would have practices where, we had our coach, but then we also had probably 3 to 4 upper management men, no women, that would come to our practices. And so we practiced 3 times a week. If we had a halftime show, we practiced an additional night. So now we're at 4 times a week, and we probably had 2 games a week. So we were there every night. And so we would have what's called, you could wear whatever you wanted to practice, but on Mondays, it was called midriff Mondays, where you had to wear a 2-piece set so that they could evaluate basically how you're
belly.
looking. Yeah, look at your stomach and your legs and whatever.
So let me just say this. You got your hair colored, which could be a confidence blow.
Mm-hmm. And
then they go, let's throw you in a 2-piece and check that belly out.
Yeah. I mean, it's really cringy to think back on that, we allowed this.
That's not for the weak.
And that's why there has been so many influential, just dancers that have put their feet down over the last several years to be like, this is not okay. And what's hard for me is I believe that we should promote healthy, but everybody's healthy body looks very different. You can't compare someone that's, taller or maybe bigger boned or whatever to someone that's short and super petite and want them to both be the exact stick thin. You just can't physically make that happen for people sometimes. And there were several girls on my team that, including myself, I did get benched once for my weight, for being 5 pounds up.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah, because I would freaking die to look like I looked at
That's
that
what
time.
I mean. I don't mean that you don't look
No,
good
I know.
now.
I know
I'm
what you mean.
saying when you look back on how all of you girls looked, the thought of, and it wasn't just you, there was multiple girls throughout. Honestly, there was probably 1 or 2 that didn't.
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe
and
a
it was
few more,
hard.
but
I mean,
everybody had to worry about that. And the fact, when you look at, they would have posters of you guys, or the websites and things like that, and you're looking back and you go, you're looking 15 years later and you go, they told her, hey, you're too fat to be on the court.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, they never use the word fat.
I mean,
I know.
All I
But
know
I'm
is that
telling
if you tell a woman, I don't like that dress on you, the woman heard, you're fat.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me these girls that are stepping on a scale in their midriff Monday day, first of all, you have midriff Monday day, and they go, sorry, sweetie, you're up 2 pounds.
Well, you would
That
get
they
like a
don't
warning.
hear. I know, but that they
Yeah.
don't hear you're fat this week.
Yeah.
Like that's just like factual. That's what a woman is hearing in that.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it is so damaging because the amount of anxiety that we would get leading up to Midriff Mondays, because I specifically remember one practice. And this is what's hard. Like, I want to talk about all this and be very real, but I am also like, I'm not trying to diss on the experience or make anybody feel a certain way. Like, I'm not trying to like step out against MB. Like, I loved my time with the Pistons. I would not change it for anything. I think that it has come so far.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many things that 10 years ago we would look back on that nobody stands for now. So like,
Yeah,
it's easy to hear about this in this moment and be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But if you put yourself 10 years back, it really wasn't that far off of just like culture.
Yeah, and I think that when you look back on historical things, not just in dance, but just the history of the world, it takes times like that
Yeah.
to get to times like this,
Yeah.
where we are reforming, we're doing things differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that overall, like you look at the team now
Mm-hmm.
versus the team then, and you can say like these are
Women,
these
just
are
women of
healthy
all,
looking women.
Yeah.
Are they? You know, you don't have to have a 6-pack and a 2% body fat to be a healthy looking woman,
Right.
or male,
Right.
for that matter. But obviously, this is more focused on the woman aspect of it.
Yeah.
And that was not the case when you were there. And I do think that there is a testament there that it has changed. And I think that overall, I think as a world, and as especially in this nation right now, we have to understand that things can change. We just have to work at it together.
Yeah.
And everybody be on the same page.
I remember one specific instant at a practice. We had to line up, and this is when the higher ups came. So there's, I think there was 4 men there, and then our coach, who was a female, maybe one other person. And we all had to line up in a straight line. And the one guy just went down the line and said, like, good, lose 5, eat a cheeseburger. Because we had a couple of girls that were, like, super tall and skinny and thin. And that's how it was. And then he just said, okay. And then he left.
Sign me up for the eat a cheeseburger.
I know. I'm like, why can't you tell me to eat a cheeseburger? But
wow.
Looking back now, I'm like, no wonder I have so many mental problems.
Yeah, I had a note in here just as I was thinking of this. I just put this in there. I was like, I wonder how we've talked a little bit about your mental health and your journey in that. And honestly, we've gone to therapy together, and it's been great. And we should talk more about that. But one thing that I don't know how much we've never really talked about in therapy is how did this impact your mental health journey?
Yeah.
And yes, you started having your panic attacks while you were dancing and while we were in London with them, but how did that impact, other than, all the other things that have impacted it, what role did this play in it? And I think we should explore that with our therapist.
Yeah, I think so too. I know several girls that I'm still great friends with that still struggle with body issues and still struggle with eating and all of that kind of stuff. The thing is that I get what they were trying to do. Mm-hmm. They wanted us to be thin. They were giving us the resources to do that. But what they weren't accounting for is that people were going to do it in an unhealthy way. We had girls that were not eating, girls that were working out 3 times a day, like just over obsessing over it, and still like falling short, which then tells me, we're doing cardio 6 to 7 days a week, and we all have team workouts and all this stuff. We're also going to college, and we're also working. Like, what more can we be doing? It's different if we're, very unhealthy and not leading this lifestyle, but I felt like there was no room for error. Yeah. Like the expectation was perfection 100% of the time. You are to look great. You are to sound great. You are to, be intellectual. Like you had to hit this certain thing, like 0 room for error on the court, 0 room for error off the court. And it was a ton of pressure, like a ton of pressure to be this perfect person. And like, I'm only 20 years old. Like, I don't even know who I am yet.
Yeah, and I guess one thing that I would like to see, and maybe they've changed this a little bit, is that we had these expectations for you, and yes, I've given you a gym membership, the some of the tools to maybe do it, but maybe some more mentorship and guidance to women who are that young and how to do this in a healthy way.
Yeah, I think at the time though they didn't really care about the healthy way.
No, I know. I'm hoping. I don't know this within the organization, and I bet they've changed that at this point, especially with the way that the world is trending right now. Of
Yeah.
just, I think that people's health and what they are eating and how to be physically active and physically fit, and different supplements and things like that. I think that the world is generally trending in that direction, and as they've trended in a more, positive body type
Yeah.
movement,
Mm-hmm.
that I would imagine now there's a little bit more resources for them.
Yeah.
I would think. And if
I would
there's
think
not,
so.
I would, that would be my challenge to NBA dancers, NFL dancer,
Mm-hmm.
cheerleaders, all the things that
Yeah.
in a very competitive atmosphere like NBA dance and NFL cheerleading is, it's a very slippery slope for those women to get into some unhealthy health type things. And when you introduce high competitiveness and potential things that are not good for your mental health or even good for your physical health, you start making sacrifices that maybe you shouldn't make.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So,
Yeah,
anywho.
so we had a lot of perks. I mean, we did get all of these extra things, which I think is part of the problem because it's like you can be replaced and we're giving you all of these amenities. Like literally the only thing that we're asking of you is for you to show up and know your stuff and to look great doing it. And so I think as a young girl, it's like it feels like they're giving you the world and they're just asking for this one thing in return when really like they're taking a lot more from you than that,
Yeah.
you know?
But I do like you've said several times on this is just that there are so many great things that came from it. So we were paid decent. I was on the flight crew. I'm speaking. I think that you guys probably could have been paid a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But we were paid. I didn't have to do all that much. I got 2 free tickets to every single home game, which was awesome.
What were you guys paid?
We were paid initially. I think it was $90 a game, and then
Then we found out you guys were making more than us and we were freaking pissed. We were at $75 a game.
and
And
then
these boys running on trampolines were making 90.
putting our lives on the line.
Are you kidding me?
Our lives on the line. We had some serious injuries.
You did, but like
We had this
we
guy.
had to be on. This was at the time when NBA dancers were allowed to sit on the court. We were out there the entire game. You guys were like,
You had courtside seats.
we did have courts. Shut up.
We had this guy on the team, just so like when I say we were putting our lives on the lines, I'm
Yeah,
kind
I
of joking,
do-
but at the same time, we had this guy, Glenn, on our team that we were at practice. This is one of the most traumatic things I've ever watched in my life. We were running a drill warming up where we all would run 10 feet behind, 15 feet behind the next person, hit the trampoline, and just keep going and passing the ball off the glass. And Glenn was in front of me, and he hit.
What is like? Glenn is a big dude.
Glenn is a 6'5", 230-pound guy, muscular,
Big dude.
big dude. He hits the trampoline in front of me, and kind of belly flops onto the mat, and I think he's being kind of funny. Like I think he's being goofy, and I could see something happened with his shoe. I thought like it fell off or something. And as I got closer, what I thought was his shoe falling off and his sock hanging out was actually his whole foot had fallen off, was holding on by like tendons, muscle, and that's
I'll
it.
put a picture on the screen if you guys want to see it.
Caution of the level of,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this is. It was his bone hanging out. It snapped in half.
Like his ankle did a 90-degree angle.
Just straight right angle.
And
Yeah.
his ankle bone just like,
It was so bad. And that was just a simple warm-up drill.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So anyways, that was my injury story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got hurt too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they would
Overseas.
hit their chins on the rim and like bust their chins.
Yeah.
You guys had
I yeah, I went to the medical thing and they glued it back together.
Hmm. But
They
lots of broken ankles, lots
lots
of
of
sprains, lots of
rolled ankles,
all of
bad
that.
things. Yeah.
But yeah, tell the story about Barcelona. Because one of the good things, one of the great things that I will cherish forever coming from the Pistons organization is we did get to travel. Like I went to China.
Did you go to you didn't go to all the games with the team though?
No, no,
People
no.
ask
That is a
Yeah.
question we get. We did not travel with the team. It was only the home games, but we did go to London. The flight crew and the dancers got to go. We got to
There was
fly.
a game overseas.
We got to fly on the Pistons plane and do all that, which was so, so cool. Like an experience of a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime. And then I went to China for an NBA event. TJ went to Barcelona. And Barcelona is actually where he got like seriously injured.
And I wasn't even dunking.
Tell the story.
So we went to Barcelona. It was like a 3-on-3 tournament that was put on by the NBA. And we went there for, I think it was 4 days. In one of the days, we were just kind of out and about, and the Pistons / the NBA wanted us to get footage of us just kind of bouncing around Barcelona, doing some gymnastics type things for the flight crew. And we went up to this thing on the beach where it was kind of a workout facility on the beach. There was chin-up bars and things like that. They also had what was basically like a high bar for gymnasts. Really was just there to be a chin-up bar, but could have been a high bar. And they had these special straps that gymnasts use where you hook yourself into the bar, and basically you can do giants. Giants, for people who are not gymnasts, that's the move where they go all the way around the bar. They're basically in a handstand all the way around the bar. And for me, that has been something that was just, I could wake up in the morning at that time and do a giant. Like, you could wake me up at 2 a.m. and say, go do a giant. I could go do a giant. Easy. Same. And I get on the bar and I'm going to go do this. Now, keep in mind,
this makes
beneath me is like, the putt-putt greens and how it's cement. When you go play putt-putt, it's cement with like that fake turf grass stuff. It's that, but it's even like padded down. It's been there for like 15 years kind of thing. So basically cement. That's all that's been below me. This is by far the top 2 dumbest decisions I've ever made in my life. I get up into a handstand.
I'm going to put a video on the screen, so this is just a warning.
I get up into the handstand. I swing to the bottom of the bar. The last thing that I remember is I think my hands are slipping. And
Confirmed.
The next thing that I remember was there was an ambulance on the beach. I was laying on the ground with a neck brace on. And at that time, I think I was probably like 21, 22. Mm-hmm. And I remember I've just felt so invincible in life that I couldn't get hurt like that. And I told them, I sat up.
Well, what had happened, if you didn't watch the video, is when his hand slipped off, he basically full sped to the pavement, but like landed on the back of his head. Like his head
like
hit
my
first,
body just like smacked on the ground.
And he just immediately goes limp. Like knocked out cold.
Complete concussion, out of it. I wake up with the neck brace on. They're trying to get me to get in the ambulance. And I was like, I don't need this neck brace. I feel fine. In reality, did not feel fine. Everything was spinning around me. I had complete tunnel vision. And the vision that I had was like somebody rubbed Vaseline across my eyes. And like a screaming, ringing in my ears.
Also, mind you, we learned this now. His sister's an optometrist, but your vision receptors are in the back of your head. So that's why your vision was doing that.
Yeah. And she's pretty sure I have something going on from that, but I refuse to go. I should go. I'm coming in, Chelsea. So then I go to I get up and I walk, and I'm having a hard time walking a straight line. I hadn't drank anything. And I'm like, I need to go to an urgent care. I didn't have a shirt on.
I was going to say, your back was pretty messed up.
I had like severe, what would be like road burn on my back that was burning. And I was thinking, I need to get this cleaned up. We're going to lunch. And luckily there's just like this urgent care right on the beach area or a boardwalk. I go in there. I talk to the guy. It's very broken English, rightfully so. We're in Spain. And he cleans me up and he goes, I don't even think I paid anything. It was just like, here you go, you're done. And I said, my head really hurts. Do you think I need to go get checked out? He looked at me very briefly and just said, no, you're fine, in what I could understand. Okay.
I cannot even imagine that happening in general, but then also being in another country.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
I don't think I was.
Did they speak English?
No, zero.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
like,
very,
oh my
very
gosh.
broken. Very broken. And so then we go to lunch, and I was starving before all this happened. I had no appetite. I was borderline nauseous. And we were supposed to perform. I obviously did not perform after that. And now it's time for everybody to go out to the bars that night. And I went to the hotel room and took a nap.
Which is like number one thing you don't do.
Yeah, don't do that.
When you get a concussion. I'm also still so mad at your friends for doing that. For like letting them let you go to bed.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I straight up took a 4-hour nap.
You could have died.
I easily could have. And so
I remember at this point of him like getting back to the hotel room, that's when I got the call. And I'm like in the United States. I think we were engaged. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like, what do you mean they left you? Like,
yeah.
I just felt so incredibly helpless.
So yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night, and you guys had talked to me. The time difference, I don't know what it was here, but you guys were like, you need to go to the hospital. All my friends, it was like 1 a.m. My head hurt. I felt so sick. I did not feel at all good. It was very bad. And then you guys talked to me, which freaked me out. And Amanda's stepdad is a neuroradiologist, and he said, you need to go get screened, basically. You need to get
because
help.
their flight was the next day. So he was like, if there's any sort of bleeding, anything like that on the back of your head, the pressure from the airplane, you could die in the air. Like,
I don't think he said that completely, but he just was, he was very concerned. And so
about the flight.
And at this point, cell phones, like international plans, were not a thing. Like, it was very expensive. And so I had no cell phone outside of the Wi-Fi. And so I'm at our hotel, and I am now need to find a hospital in a country where there's not a lot of English, especially at this time of night. And I just start like basically wandering, asking to figure out how to get to a hospital. Mm-hmm. And I finally, two random girls just were like, hey, we'll show you. And so they literally took me and actually helped me kind of with interpretation and things like that once I was there. And then once I was checked in, they left. Crazy. Like, where did those people come from? Mm-hmm. Like angels. Crazy. And I get there, they concussion screen me. The guy goes, you're fine, no problem, maybe a mild concussion. And that was it. No scans, no nothing, no offer to do anything differently. And then the next day at 9 a.m. was my flight. I got on that plane, and that was the longest 9 hours, I think, of my life, of pounding headache. I just kept popping Advil I think you could do it every 4 to 6 hours. I was doing it every 4 and just kept taking it. Got home and immediately went from the airport to an urgent care or a hospital, got a CT scan, and they said, you definitely have a concussion. All your symptoms are similar to what we would see with a concussion. This could take a month to resolve, but good news, no fracture, no bleeding on the brain. Great.
Well, it was also like weird timing, and they were like, we looked at it, but we're gonna have the radiologist.
I feel like it was like Sunday at 7 p.m. or something.
Yeah, so they were like, you're good, but we'll call you if the radiologist has anything.
The next day, my phone is ringing like crazy. I had just interviewed at Chrysler. I was thinking it was them calling me. I was on like narco or some sort of heavy pain medication, and I didn't want to answer the phone because I didn't want to sound all drugged up with the company I was going to work for. They kept calling. They kept calling my house phone, my parents' house phone, and then we called my cell phone.
RIP house phones.
Yeah. And then I finally pick up the phone, and they go, this is so-and-so with McLaren Hospital. Are you by yourself? Yes, I'm by myself. Okay, you need to call an ambulance immediately. They reviewed your CT scan. You fractured your skull, and you do have bleeding on your brain. You need to get into a hospital now.
Do not drive.
Do not drive.
Yeah.
And I called my dad. My dad worked very close to the house, and he drove me to the hospital, and they confirmed that I did fracture my skull, had bleeding on my brain. And it is a miracle.
You can see in the picture, it literally was cracked from like the nape of his neck, like all the way up to the back. or
Yeah.
the top of the back of his head.
Yeah.
Oh, so freaking
Miracle
scary.
that it, like, the blood had clotted before I got on the plane, and the blood clot did not blow when we were with the pressure of the plane.
That day could have been so different.
Yeah. So sometimes we talk about how God's just got us and has
It's
kind
so
of provided this
scary.
crazy path for you and I to be together. That was one where he made a path for us to stay together and me to stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, TJ is really, 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 really grumpy as a patient.
With a fractured skull, bleeding on your brain, and a concussion. Yes.
I would literally be like, do you need a water? He'd be like, why are you screaming?
Whatever. If that's my only flaw, sue me. Okay, so we've talked about some of the negatives of this journey that we've had. There were more, definitely more positives from this with the trips, yes. But then I think about one of my most proud moments for us in that, and was that we, in a entertainment world where it's so secular, it's so maybe divisive or harsh or toxic, like that may seem that way, we were able to form this group of friends that we're still friends, and we started a Bible study together in a probably one of the most unlikely places to make a Bible study, given the people that were in charge at that time.
Yeah.
And now when this group gets together, I don't think that there's been a time that we got together that Bible study hasn't been mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. It was really, really cool. And we felt this pull on our hearts to start it, but we were like, this is so awkward. Like, I don't want to invite any of them. Like, what if nobody wants to come? Like, all this stuff. And then I think at one point we had like 30 people.
Yeah,
like it was just
packed.
crazy. I just think
people were bringing their boyfriends and girlfriends who were not a part of the organization.
I think there's just such a hunger for guidance for young people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like when you can find people who are like on mission together with the same goals and dreams, it's special.
And I think back to like my goal in life with our faith and things like that. It's not that I want to force my faith down anybody's throat. Like, that's not my goal at all. My goal is to live a life that people look at you and I and our relationship and say, TJ and Amanda are different. What are they doing that's different? And then them come to us and say, look, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. How are you handling this so well? And honestly, I can look back in all those scenarios that it's our faith.
Yeah.
Because that's what we lean on.
Yeah, I think so too. I also think it's really cool. I think there's 5 couples that came out of Dancers in Flight Crew that are married now with kids, which I think is really cool. We're going to answer all of the questions that everybody is burning to know all the time about NBA, and we're going to do a little rapid fire.
Yeah, so here we go. Rapid fire questions. Why did you choose the NBA over NFL?
I think that NBA and NFL are very comparable. At the time, the Detroit Lions did not have a dance team, so for us, NBA was the only option. I do think that NBA can be a little bit more scrappy, if you will. It's more hip-hop style, where NFL is usually more jazz. You have palms. It's just like a different style, but both great.
Would you ever do Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders?
I would. I think it's every NBA or NFL dancer's dream.
Could you work while you were dancing for the NBA?
Absolutely. Practices and games were mandatory, so as long as you were at those, then it was fine, but it was usually at night. Usually girls either went to college during the day and did NBA at night, or they worked their regular job and then came to NBA at night.
So for college people, it was a side hustle kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like any other part-time job.
Or if you had a full-time job, it was a side hustle.
Yeah.
Cool. What time did you have to show up for games?
So let's say the game was at 7. We always had court time at 5, so we would get there about 4 so that we could be ready to be out on court. And then we would do our court time, go back, eat, get ready, game at 7.
So was that like a 6-hour day?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard because we would have to leave whatever jobs we had early to be able to get there by 4, to go in at 5. So it was definitely demanding, but that was the only time we had for court time. Like, we had to have that.
What is the strictest or weirdest rule that you had to follow?
I remember in my first contract, my first year, there was a clause that we had a very strict no fraternization policy with the players. Dancers and the players were not allowed to communicate, look at each other, any of that. And we had a rule in our contract that if you were like out to dinner with your family at a restaurant and a player showed up, that you had to, within 5 minutes, leave that table and not be in that building anymore. We were not allowed to be where the players were.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which is interesting too, because when we were a part of the Pistons organization, the Palace of Auburn Hills was not in Detroit. And
Right.
so a lot of the players and us lived pretty close to that area. So it wasn't unrealistic that you would be at, it was TGI Fridays, we'd go there after the game, or Applebee's or something like that, and a player could easily show up. That was just what was close, and that happened a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We did not have that rule. And also the players didn't have that. Like,
right. Only
the
we had
players
that rule.
also, I don't even think they were aware of you weren't allowed.
I think
you guys
they
weren't
know.
allowed to talk to them.
I think they know.
What did you get paid?
We made $75 a game and $25 a practice, I think is what it was. And then when we started doing the halftime shows and we were like, we are here for 5 hours, then I think we started making like $20 or $25 an hour.
Yeah, I remember when the halftime shows started, they kind of used you get to meet these cool people as payment.
Mm-hmm.
And it was voluntary.
Yeah, I think all in all, I probably made $15,000 a year doing it.
Yeah.
And they're recently, like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders kind of put their foot down on that. And I think some of them now make like salaries, which is incredible because it's so demanding and so it's such a time commitment that it's like, you really don't have time to work another job, but no one can live off $13,000 a year.
Well, and especially for Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, not that you guys didn't work as hard as them, but they have this brand that is not that brand. And the TV show and all that comes with being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Yeah.
That brings so much in for the Dallas Cowboys.
We also had opportunity for appearances, but it was kind of like, I mean, there's 20 of us on the team and it's usually 2 dancers per appearance. So it was kind of like first come, first serve.
Right.
But I think it was either 75 or 150.
It probably was
I can't
not
remember.
more.
I think it definitely wasn't more than that.
No, I'm saying it wasn't more than a game, which.
Oh, no.
150 would have been more than a game was. So.
Well, I know our prices changed. I know that we got paid more my last year. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, not enough.
Cool. This was fun. It's a good episode.
It was fun. I feel like it's nostalgic. I think that it's easy to look back on all the things that were wrong, but it also, I mean, it's what brought me to like you and our family and where we are today. And I feel like I grew so much through that. I made so many incredible friends through that. I feel like it shaped me into the woman that I am. I think a lot of times throughout my life, you know, I've been able to prove that the stereotype isn't always what you think, you know, like just with being a DIYer in like a heavily male dominated field and, you know, going through adversity and all of these things with becoming a Pistons dancer and just all the things that come with it. I think it just shows that if there's something that you want, like go for it. And if you put in the work, nothing's like out of reach.
Yeah, I think that for me, the takeaways that I see for you that you took is your resiliency. I think you have that as a repeating kind of principle or life lesson throughout your life. And this is just one of those areas where you had to be very resilient. You can't control what life is throwing at you. All you can do is control how you react and come out stronger because of what life threw at you. And this is just one of those. Life will throw really, really unrealistic, harsh, toxic situations at you. And you have 2 options. You can sit in it and do nothing, or you can find a way to make you stronger and come back more resilient. And when it comes with you, the next thing, you're ready. And then ultimately, yeah, I think the professionalism that it taught you, even if it was in a weird, different way than what you would do now and how to present yourself, you've carried that through. And like we talked about at the top of the episode of just the whole Forbes creator thing, you're a professional, smart, intelligent, confident businesswoman now. And I do think that part of our lives and your life played an important role.
Yeah, I think too that maybe we can, if you guys have other questions that we didn't touch on, there's so many things that we even had on our list that we didn't get to talk about with this. And just things like, what did TJ's family think of, you know, he's going to date a dancer, and just what does that look like in life? And we have other stories and just a lot of things. This could definitely be a part 2, but we're out of time for this one.
Yeah,
so
throw
if there's
some questions in the comments for sure, because if there's enough questions, we'll certainly come back to this and do NBA life part 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things that we could touch on, but if you want to listen, you can listen on all major streaming platforms, or if you want to watch the video, see any of the pictures or references, things that we're talking about on here, that's on Spotify and YouTube, and you can follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you're listening to your podcast. Leave us a review, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Mostly Thriving.
Yeah, see you next time.
Have a good one.
Peace.